Hello everyone, my name is Castadon, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that tends to get overlooked. And I'm talking about that time Ocala, Florida had a gang war from the end of 2018 to the beginning of 2019. Ocala is a relatively decent sized city located in Central Florida and home to approximately 64,000 residents as of 2021, making it the 54th most populated city in Florida. But behind the beautiful springs, equestrian center, and decent schools is a much darker secret. It all started in October 2018. An argument between two unknown individuals on social media would result in both individuals and their friends arranging a meetup to squabble their beef in person. But something went terribly wrong. At 12:38 a.m., 11 October 2018, Marion County Sheriff deputies received a report of a shooting at a Circle K gas station. When sheriff's deputies and police officers arrived on scene, they found a red Nissan Versa with its back window shot out and an apparent bullet hole in the driver's side window. There were two people in the vehicle, but in the back seat was 18-year-old June Hugo, who had suffered multiple gunshot wounds, including some to his head, torso, and left hand. Hugo was then transported to the Ocala Regional Medical Center, where he succumbed to his injuries. While investigating the shooting, deputies received a report of another shooting about 6 blocks away in the 600 block of Northwest 58th Court, which is in the Ocala Ridge subdivision. Sheriff deputies then went to that scene and recovered evidence of a secondary shooting there and believed the two were connected. Hugo's death shook the city and the people who know him to their core. More questions than answers were given. People asked why, and even who. Who would shoot an 18-year-old man who was seemingly the life of the party, about to graduate high school, and even become a dad for the second time? No one knew, and no one was talking. Now it was time for police to do some investigating and try to figure out the story here. And boy, did they open up a can of worms. As it turns out, our victim, June Hugo, was heavily involved in the street life and street gangs, and had even formed a clique with his other friends, calling themselves SUB, or Stick Up Boys. Now for those who don't know, a Stick Up Boy is a person that robs drug dealers for a living. In fact, Hugo had actually been shot in a drive-by shooting in January 2018, close to where he would lose his life later that year. Hugo was not always a victim though. According to sheriff office records, 4 months after Hugo was shot the first time, an unnamed 16-year-old boy accused him and another individual of robbing him at gunpoint and stealing his cash and cell phone. The victim stated that Hugo had hit him in the back of the head with a gun. An arrest warrant was drawn up and Hugo was taken into custody. Now, June Hugo's gang ties and street affiliation made things a bigger problem for investigators as they tried to solve his murder, and that problem was retaliation. The investigators know that they were now in a race against the clock to find out who murdered Hugo and locate them before the Stick Up Boys can deliver street justice. The remainder of 2018 was relatively quiet in terms of Hugo's murder, with countless tributes made on social media in his honor, a shrine in his memory across from the Circle K gas station, and even rap songs like this one made in his honor.
Yo, pop out. Sorry, mama, I can't help it. My mama told me stop playing with no weapon. All little June free Donnie screaming sub gang. Smoking dead niggas on a Sunday. Part to perk my body numb, but it ain't none the pain. Tell them niggas shakes.
And still, no updates given to the public on the investigation. During the months-long investigation, witnesses began to come forward, identifying two individuals who become persons of interest in the case: Demetrius Antonio Wright and Calvin Denard Epps. Detectives collected electronic data confirming that Wright and Epps were both in the immediate area where and when the shooting that had taken Hugo's life had occurred. Witnesses also told detectives that Epps was driving a sports utility vehicle and they saw Wright shoot out of the sunroof with an unknown firearm. It is also reported that after the incident, Epps allegedly threatened an individual over the phone, saying that the bullets were meant for him and not Hugo. And who was the other individual in the car with Hugo? Well, that's none other than his right-hand man, Nelson Servando Ferguson, aka Don, Donnie, or Kid on Jupiter. Now, Ferguson was also a stick-up boy, and had close personal ties with Hugo, posting multiple throwback memories of him and Hugo, showing respect for his fallen comrade and showing just how much time the two spent together. Ferguson knew that he would get his revenge and that it was only a matter of time. On January 16, 2019, Ocala police would receive reports of a woman with 3 gunshot wounds to the leg on Walnut Drive. Upon arrival, they will find at least a dozen bullet holes in the home and surrounding area. The shooter will remain at large, and the woman would ultimately survive. On January 17, 2019, Ocala police would conduct a traffic stop on a vehicle that Ferguson was operating and recover a loaded Glock Model 17. When asked about the shooting the night before, Ferguson denied being involved in the shooting and stated that he was at work. Police reviewed the security footage and found that Ferguson had clocked out 5 hours before the incident and did not return to work until 14 hours after the incident had occurred. Police confiscated the firearm and sent it away for a ballistics test to see if the weapon matched the one used in the shooting the day prior. Ocala police were now getting quickly overwhelmed. Both gangs had constantly conducted retaliatory shootings back and forth over a 4-week period, which resulted in 9 overall shootings, 5 houses being shot up, and 3 people being shot. The police knew that they needed some extra assistance, and on January 22, 2019, Ocala Police Captain Greg Martin convened a joint task force that included agencies such as Major Crimes, the FBI, the ATF, the Sheriff's Office, and the Unified Drug Enforcement Team. This task force would work cohesively on a project known as Operation Take Back Our Streets. Operation Take Back Our Streets had one mission: prevent shootings or pick up any pieces to the puzzle that will be left behind from the shooters. And they would achieve this by enacting a 24/7 zero-tolerance approach in the affected areas. This task force was extremely effective. With no witnesses coming forward, members of the task force became their own witnesses and would track and identify gang members from both sides, day and night. By January 28, 2019, the task force was able to arrest 9 individuals, remove 5 firearms from the streets, and facilitate the closure of June Hugo's homicide case, which investigators deduced is what started this gang war, with Hugo's side wanting revenge and the other side wanting them all dead. In the end, the 9 individuals involved in this gang war were arrested and processed for the following: Demetrius Antonio Wright for second-degree murder, Calvin Denard Epps for principal to second-degree murder and witness tampering, Deshaun Barnes for battery, possession of cocaine, MDMA, and cannabis, Shelly Cook for possession of fentanyl, MDMA, marijuana, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, resisting arrest, and possession of an open container of alcohol. Michael Hughley for carrying a concealed firearm and grand theft of a firearm. Nelson Ferguson, possession of a concealed firearm, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, and attempted murder. Michael Richards and Lovey Epps for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription as well. Since these arrests have been made, the shootings between these two gangs have ceased, and the city of Ocala can now sleep peacefully knowing that these two groups are now behind bars thanks to the Ocala police and Operation Take Back Our Streets. It's been 5 years since this gang war took place, so I've decided to do a little digging and find out what's happened to these individuals since. Demetrius Wright and Calvin Epps both took plea deals on December 8, 2021. They pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and principal to second-degree murder, respectively, and were sentenced to 7-year prison sentence with 4 years of probation each. And Epps still has to serve time for witness tampering as well. Wright still has contact with the outside world, posting pictures to Facebook and social media of him in his prison outfit, while Epps has remained radio silent. Nelson Ferguson. Hugo's right-hand man was arrested on May 19, 2019 for the January 16th shooting of the woman in her home, which detectives believe was retaliation towards Epps for Hugo's murder, as the Glock Model 17 that he was caught with came back positive for the January shooting. Michael Hughley. Another associate of Hugo's would sadly lose his life in October of 2019 when EMS were waved down by a group of people and observed a man on the street suffering from a gunshot wound. No arrests have been made in this case as of yet. As for the other individuals who were arrested, there's no further information that I could find as to where they are now. While this may seem like a one-of-a-kind thing, Ocala seems to be more and more in the spotlight of Central Florida news stations, but for all the wrong reasons. Most recently being the Paddock Mall shooting that just happened, where one person lost their life and another was injured a couple days before Christmas. With shootings left and right, this is happening more frequently, and the only thing we can do now is pray and stay vigilant. Hey, what's up, y'all? I just want to say thank you for watching my video. I appreciate all the love y'all give me. If y'all really enjoyed this, I have some more ideas that I love to share with you, and hopefully we could all learn from this, and you know, hopefully I can enlighten some people as to things that happen in my hometown.
Relax and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Throw you in a choke, gun smoke. Biggie Smalls for mayor, the rap slayer, the hooker layer. Motherfucker, say your prayers.